Yo, what is up, guys? It's your boy Travis, aka Travesty, and today I'm coming at you guys with the state of Awakening Mystic. Um, if you guys didn't know, Awakened Mystic got buffed a few weeks ago. I made a video on the Global Labs on those changes, and those changes have been pretty fucking huge when it comes to the um, playability, functionality, and Awakened Mystic in general. If you guys didn't already know, I've been one of Awakening Mystic's most fervent complainers, downplayers, doomers, whatever you want to call it. I made up the slogan, or I didn't make it up, but I, propagated the slogan that Awakening Mystic is dead, or Awakened Mystic is dead, and I've been running that for the past 2-3 years. Essentially, after reboots, um, I felt like Awakened Mystic fell off pretty hard. I've been playing Awakened Mystic since 2019, June 10th, 2019 to be specific. And I'm pretty geared now. So I have like a good idea of how she does uncapped against people of other similar gear score. Other than that, yeah, I've been complaining about Awakened Mystic for a long time, and to have her feel so strong recently in the past couple of weeks has been a joy. And I know a lot of people are probably going to expect her to get nerfed, but if we get the same treatment that Suck Zerk got, which was like 3 years of being one of the best classes in the game, I think these kind of changes are here to stay, and a lot more people will be able to pick up Mystic and have fun with her because basically they added like 10 protections to her, so it's very hard to be unsafe on her. So I'll just go over the changes again. I've already gone over them in the Global Labs video, but I've been able to play a lot of AOS on her. Have a bunch of fun playing her. It doesn't matter what build you play in AOS nowadays. You can run like a full DP build, right, and still do a fuck ton of damage in this current AOS setting. If they change it, maybe she won't be as strong, but as of right now, in the current AOS gear set, she's very strong. It doesn't matter what kind of set you run, you're going to be able to do damage. And if you run full tank, you're still going to be able to do damage, but you're going to be a lot more of a threat when it comes to CC and pressure. Outside of AOS, uncapped wise, I feel like her damage hasn't necessarily gone up, but you feel like you can put out damage a lot easier. Unbridled Wrath having SA on it now is a change I've been asking for a while. A lot of my complaints on Awakening Mystic, 1-2 years ago was out of my whole fucking kit, Unbridled does the most damage. And with the change, it definitely feels like I'm able to, I can transition to Awakening via SA without having to C-swap or use Crouching Wolf. That's nice. It just feels really good having Unbridled at SA. I don't know what else to say other than a very good change and something I've been asking for a while. Spiral Torpedo having movement speed on it's pretty big. Probably the biggest change that I call most Mystics called was this 13-second cooldown on Vacuum with a knockdown at the end that you can cancel. Vacuum used to be one of our animation lock skills. It had slows on it, and now it has like movement slows on it, I believe. I don't think it used to have like both slow, but now it's just movement, I believe. Let me just double check. Yeah, it had both, but instead they gave us a cancelable Vacuum, so no longer animation lock. We can cancel it. It used to be like a free grab for most players. We also got KD on it, so it's another protected KD. I think just having a 13-second Vacuum versus a 20-second Vacuum just makes you much more of a threat. And a Vacuum is like a semi-CC already to a lot of classes that don't have lingering iframes. And because of that, you just feel a lot more impactful on Awakening Mystic. And you just, even if you whiff a Vacuum, it doesn't feel as bad. And it's in line with your grab cooldown, even less cooldown than your grab. So if you use your Vacuum to set up grabs, you can pretty much do it on repeat. Been a very good change, and I feel like as someone who's played Awakening Mystic for years, I can just set up so many more Vacuums that it's not even funny how how strong it feels to be able to do it every 13 seconds. When it comes to like other changes, we got elbow edge. The stiff was removed from it, but SA was added to it. I think it's an overall W. I know some like Suck Mystics and other Mystics didn't like the change that much because one, you can't use it on a repeat as like a unprotected movement skill that you can spam, and you can't sniff anymore. Essentially, your sniffing options come down to like scissor kick, spiral torpedo, twisted collision. I think twisted collision is probably the most viable out of the 3 options I just went over. You can dash, twisted collision, and hope to get somebody, but you really have to be on top of somebody to sniff on Awakening Mystic. If you're not close, the sniff's not going to happen, unfortunately. And elbow edge was one of the ways you could do it, like close the gap really quickly and stiff them, but no longer, and it's fine. I think it's an overall W for Mystic, especially if you're not that great at Mystic. It just makes it more noob friendly since you can't use a skill off cooldown, and if you do use a skill on cooldown, it is protected. Other than that, we got this Fortitude change. Fortitude went from 30-second cooldown to 40-second cooldown. Now, not only do you regen HP, you get HP when you get hit. I think I underestimated how strong this was going to be. It's really strong in 3v3 and group PvP. It's not super strong in 1v1 because you don't get that many hits. But I will say in like 3v3, you can be 10%. And if you know you're going to get hit a lot and not grabbed, you use it. You're going to go from 10% to 100% in AOS. And like uncapped PvP, like RBFs, I'd be running this gear. And I'd go in and I get like a 2-3 piece kill. And then I'd be grabbed by a Nova or something. And like insta CC capped, but still I'm down to 10% HP. I stand up. I infinite fortitude. I know I'm immune from CCs for at least 1 to 2 seconds after I get capped and comboed, and then my HP goes up so quickly I don't even need to stay in this for that long. I can be like this and I can just get out before I get grabbed. So it's really nice. Also, if you didn't know, this like pushback effect, if you cancel it early, it has like a similar effect to a vacuum, but it's just like a pushback essentially. So you just leave it there. Not sure if it's intended, but it feels pretty good. You can set up multiple, you can be like PA here, get out of it, vacuum here, and then they're just kind of stuck. They can't go this way, they can't go this way, so they either go this way or this way. A lot of little things you can do with that. And then also changes that, have happened over time that have been nice. We have a protected slow now with Dragon's Pit. It's not something you really can apply very easily, but that's a pretty good change. And something, with the combination of all the changes, feels like pretty good because you can do vacuum into this, and they're on pretty similar cooldowns as well. So that's nice. Unbridled is a safe way to transition to Pre-Awakening, and it has no CC. Raging Wind, or not Raging Wind, Rage Hammer used to have like a bound CC on it. So every time you'd catch somebody in Pre-Awakening on accident, and every time you catch somebody in Pre-Awakening on accident and you use Rage Hammer because you're used to using Rising Dragon, you don't insta CC cap them now because there's no CC on Rage Hammer. And I think that's a win for Awakening Mystic. And so even if you fuck up a combo, you're kind of actually chilling now because you're not insta CC capping. And so like input wise for noobs, Mystics just got so much easier to play. You don't really have to track stance as much as you used to in my old combo videos. And I might do another combo video in the future. But for now, I'm just kind of going over it. And maybe we'll go over the skills here near the end when it comes to damage. But yeah, Awakened Mystic's very strong. I hope we get the Suck Zerk treatment. At least 3 years of being strong in the game. And yeah, if you guys have any questions on my thoughts, I definitely think Mystic's a very easy class mechanically, like compared to Awakened Nova, Awakened Zerker, Suck Ninjas, Kunos. very easy class to pick up mechanically. Combos are pretty simple. You have 2 protected KDs. You have a lot of protected. You have like a protected KD as well, a semi-protected. So when I say protected, I mean like SA. But you also have like frontal guards KDs with Thunder Pound. You have a lot of fishing CCs like Mass Destruction. I think it's a very noob friendly class, and with all the changes to it, is something that you can be pretty good at, pretty relatively quickly in comparison to other classes. And a lot of its gaps have been like fixed up. Especially one of them used to be you can only use Spiral Torpedo with Gushing Water to close that gap, but now you can do Spiral Torpedo into Mass Destruction, Spiral Torpedo into Rising Dragon, Sea Burial. All those skills close up the gap pretty well. That's not like 100%. You still have the server side desync and you get CC'd out of it, but pretty good changes. Makes the kit feel a lot more like Awakened Striker, to be honest. Awakened Striker is still more gapless than Awakening Mystic, and a lot of new Mystics that will play will see the SA icon on their screen, but then get CC'd out of it. Yeah, it's just a Awakened Mystic thing. Until they make it lingering, it's probably never going to go away due to the servers. But yeah, no, Awakened Mystic's very strong. And the next thing I want to go over is Awakened Mystic damage calculations that I've done. If you guys can see this, great. If you guys can't, I'll be redoing this video to make sure you guys can see it. But this is a sheet I've been working on with the help of Lawsy from the Mystic Discord. He provided these durations for me. This one duration right here is 2 hits of Hurricane Sweep, because I've been seeing Brony or Bernie, whatever you want to call him, use the combo from FTP that uses Hurricane Sweep as the re-CC. I personally keep it locked for group PvP because it comes out of Spiral Torpedo, but it's something that can be considered. And then here are the calculations. You got your critical hit rate. This stuff is kind of important when it comes to just calculating damage, modifiers as well, and then also number of hits, and then the manual inputs. These come from the game. One thing I wanted to point out is Roaring Tiger in the game shows as 5, but if this was actually 5, Roaring Tiger would be the highest damage skill in our kit. And I don't think that's the case. And when I talked about it with some people in the Mystic Discord, Lulzy showed on the Global Labs that it's actually only 2 hits. So take this with a grain of salt. Some of the tool tips in game might be wrong. As you can see, Roaring Tiger shows 5, but in Global Labs it's 2. So I'm not sure how accurate this is, but based on the tool tips, a lot of these answers make sense to me. So starting from the top here, we have Wave Orb 2 shards, 12.3k damage about, and that makes sense. Wave Orb is 11-second cooldown, 10-second cooldown, 2 shard, consumes 2 shards. It makes sense that it's the highest damage. You want to cancel out of it. This duration is based off the cancel, not the charge duration. If you charge it, the PvP damage probably goes down. Rising Dragon 1 shard has a PvP DPS of 8.285k. Again, these durations were provided by Lawsley. If you can do your own testing, and then you can divide to make your calculation. Then we have Sea Burial at 1 shard. So basically all of the 3 shard skills are at the top as expected. It's when you get to these lower results where it gets a little bit more like, oh, I didn't think that would be that high damage, but it is. So Gushing Water is 4th place. Expected. Perfect Blow is 5th place. Kind of unexpected. And I feel like this skill comes out pretty slow sometimes. But yeah, I mean, pretty good skill to see that it's in 5th place. So definitely something to consider when you're comboing or trying to make a combo. Maybe swapping to Pre-Awakening is not too bad. Unbridled, not a surprise that it's in 6th place here with 5.8 thousand damage. This skill does a lot of damage. And as you can see here, modifiers are kind of important as well as critical hit rate. So you can see Unbridled has a down attack modifier and 100% crit rate. So it makes sense that yeah, every time I use it, I'm getting good damage out of it. Roaring Tiger is in like 7th place. This is kind of surprising. Even when you only account for 2 hits, it's all the way up here with 5.7k damage. But it only has a 48% critical hit rate modifier. If you don't have any critical hit rate add-ons, it's only about 48% critical hit. If you have 30% critical hit rate, 78%. And then you need more critical to get this to 100. So it makes sense that even though its total damage is in 7th place or whatever you call them, I'm losing count. Maybe, yeah, 7th place, it doesn't have the modifier on it. But I still think it's worth using as a re-CC. Earth Splitter follows it up, and that makes sense. Earth Splitter can be used at the end of a combo for a down smash reset, as well as has been pretty good filler damage in general. Elbow Edge, this is surprising to me as well. It doesn't have a CC on it, so definitely something to consider if you're going to be comboing out of Pre-Awakening. It's SA as well. So something to think about. It's all the way up here. Hurricane Kick is a pretty slow skill. Sometimes you can do some cancels and makes it accelerated, but it's not impacted by your attack casting speed, which is a good and bad thing. If you're super slowed and use it, it's going to come out just the same speed as it always does. But if you're like Z buffed, E buffed, or you're having Crouching Wolf speed buff, you're definitely not going to feel the speed on it. It's kind of slow. So that makes sense that it's kind of low. Spark Torpedo is here, 5k damage, a little bit less than Hurricane Kick. Makes sense. Spark Torpedo is our main re-CC. And as you can see, even though it has like a pretty high damage, similar to like Roaring Tiger, like 5k, its critical hit rate is quite low, and so you're probably not going to get too much damage from it. And if you bond it, you get a KD from it. That's where you get that knockdown. Raging Wind only comes out of Frontal Guard. It only comes out of Unprotected Dragon Strike. It's Frontal Guard, but I would recommend locking it unless you are in 1v1 or you like to use the full Awakening combo. Thrashing Wolf, it's a little bit lower than I thought it would be. I feel like it does pretty good damage, but it's at 4.9k. It doesn't have a down attack modifier either, so it doesn't get that down modifier, but it does have a good critical hit rate at 98%. As we get lower, Dragon Strike, 4.6k, not too bad. It's actually higher than I thought it would be. And so definitely something, if you're not misclicking Dragon Strike or you're just doing 1v1s, Dragon Strike gives you 10% down attack damage when you use it. This was like a recent change. I have it locked, but it's definitely something you think about to use because it'll give you 5%. It's 5%, not 10%. 5%, but if you have an add on it, it's going to give you 10%. And if you unlock Dragon Strike, I'd probably put add on it for 1v1 combos because you can use it at the beginning of a combo to get that extra damage on the ground. Rage Hammer, 4.6k, a little bit less. It's SA, it has down, but its critical hit rate is kind of low, so it makes sense that most of the time when you use Rage Hammer, you're not really doing that much damage, to be honest. Sweeping Kick also has a low crit rate, but it is used to re-CC, and it's one of our fastest re-CCs, I would say. It comes out really quickly, so definitely something to use. I step back, but it's faster than Roaring Tiger for sure. Out of Unbridled, it's faster out of a lot of skills. Hurricane Sweep. Hurricane Sweep is the skill I was talking about earlier. It's a skill I have locked because of its interaction with Spiral Torpedo. A lot of times you'll try to do Spiral Torpedo, and then you'll do Hurricane Sweep instead. So it's definitely something, but I've seen Bernie, one of the EU streamers that's rolling to Awaken Mystic, use 2-hit to use the KD. And so Hurricane Sweep is actually not too bad damage, 4.2k, if you just use 2 hits. But it's unprotected, but it has a decent crit rate, so something to think about. Tidal Burst, it's stiff into a float. probably not something you want to use because it's gonna make it's a bad CC, and then it's also its damage is quite low. It's almost as low, the lowest, but has 100% crit rate and air attack. Something to think about. Thunder Pound has a down attack and 3.5k, but its critical hit rate is 48. So you probably want critical hit rate add-ons for it to damage, but this is mainly used as a protected re-CC. You don't want to do it when somebody's standing, though, because you stun lock them. But it's definitely something you do when somebody's grounded, because the stun doesn't go through, the KD only goes through. Rapid Stream, low as expected, only 2.8 PvP DPS, and it's a stun into a float into a knockback. It's a stun into a knockback into a float. So not really any good CCs from there, but it does have DP down on it. Dragon Rips combined. This is the vacuum. Its damage is higher than expected. You know, it's not too bad DPS wise. And the current AOS, you use this on somebody, they might die to it because everybody's super squishy. And then Dragon Pit are slow. 0 damage. I kind of still miss the Wave Warp slow that did damage, but hey, Frontal Guard on Wave Warp losing the slow, I think I'd rather keep that because it gives us more semi-protected damage. But anyways, guys, I'll link this sheet in the video description below. I'll be on vacation for the next couple weeks, so I hope this video helps you guys out on the state of Awakening Mystic. I believe Awakening Mystic is very much alive, and I hope that it stays that way because I've been waiting for like 3 years. Let me have it at least for another 3 years. Anyways, guys, this has been Travis, aka Travis. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.